Hey, welcome to Break Check.
Welcome to Break Check, where the points don't matter.
Hey?
And
What?
Yeah, we have a serious topic to talk about.
Oh,
There's
you
a
gonna start
problem.
off seriously?
We have I figure if we start off serious and we can end on a good note, because a couple weeks ago we ended on a really dark note.
A couple weeks ago or last week?
Was it last week? We ended on kind of a dark note. Yeah. So it felt like so long because I've been in such turmoil about it. If you can see, Jason and I are sporting shirts with a similar theme.
Yes.
Save the manuals.
Can you see?
His says endangered species. I actually secured us a sponsor.
Oh.
Yep.
All
We're
right.
Sponsored by PMS, the Preservation of Manual Survival.
Okay.
So
Preservation of manual survival.
Sounds
Yeah.
legit. Wow.
manual transmissions are in a dangerous place in America.
They are very dangerous.
And so, I mean, this is a serious deal.
Yeah.
And there's
No.
sponsorships out there for it. And we got the shirts, so you know it has to be real. I actually looked up stick shifts. They're claimed to be making a comeback. In 2021, manual sales made up less than 1% of all auto sales in America.
It's pretty rough.
And just I understand the reason behind people don't want manuals, because in America they want to be lazy. And I know this is a hard truth, but we got to face it, you know?
All right.
There's something about manual transmissions that just makes sense. You're part of the car. But you know,
So-
there is hope.
There is hope. I mean, you could save a manual transmission.
You could save a manual transmission with the small cost of $15,000 to $40,000. You can buy a manual transmission car.
It's true.
I'm just asking you to do your part.
Yeah. Help.
Um,
Just to help the
there
car
is,
community.
but like I said, there is hope, because from 2021 to last year to 2023, sales went up to 1.7%.
Wow.
So
almost double.
we're on the way up. We're on the way up.
It's
And
improving.
I want to thank you, America. I want to thank you, PMS, for sponsoring this portion of the podcast. We couldn't do it without PMS,
Right.
and we couldn't do it
PMS
without
is the best.
the American people willing to shift their transmissions. So
Right. Yeah. It's
let's
very
get into something fun.
It's
I'm
very
tired-
little effort.
Yeah, let's get into something fun.
Okay.
Well, it's fun for me.
Okay.
In Chicago, as a lot of people in America know,
Uh-huh.
there's been some rough weather,
Yes.
some cold temperatures going across
In a lot of
West
places
Coast
in
to
America.
East Coast,
Yeah.
across the plains of America. One of the places that got hit really hard is Chicago. As a result, there was some Tesla turmoil in Chicago. So I know that Tesla has this technology where they sort of self-heat their batteries.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't know, batteries have to be preconditioned in order to take a charge.
I mean, it's recommended
Yeah.
for them to fast charge.
In Chicago, it was so cold
Right.
that they had Tesla supercharging stations, multiple people. I have an article too, so if you don't believe me, you think I'm making it up. But there was 3 people in this article referenced where one of them, they would charge their car. They charged it for 3 hours at this Tesla supercharging station in Chicago. And after 3 hours, it was still at 0%. The guy left it there overnight, came back the next day, the article says 3 hours later, but it was overnight, so essentially the next day. And so 6 total hours, still at 0%. Another lady,
Did the charger have power though?
yeah, it showed that it was charging, but it never got a charge on the car.
Oh.
So it connected, it said, going at it, nothing. Another lady said that she was waiting in line for
Right.
hours and hours and never got to a charger. Other chargers weren't operational
Right.
because of the cold. And then someone else who wasn't at the charging station flew in, and his Tesla, with a charge when he left, was parked at the airport.
Okay.
And when he went to get in his car to go home, wouldn't start. Battery was drained all the way down. So he had to get his car towed home,
Right.
pay a tow fee. So
Yeah.
cold weather has a very ill effect. I mean, and I understand that they have their own heaters in them. I don't know if all
That's-
electric vehicles do, but
Right.
there is a limit, or there is a point where it gets so cold
Right.
that it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, even our gas cars had a hard time starting
right.
because you need an electrical charge from your battery to get it going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they started,
Right.
and my heater worked, and I drove to where I wanted to go.
Yeah. I mean, this is the scariest part to me about owning an electric vehicle is the extreme cold. It doesn't happen like super often in America where we get like these really harsh conditions.
Mm-hmm.
But when they do happen, you're in for a rough time. Yeah, I will admit, I like the technology of electric cars, but yeah,
Well, I mean, it's like we always say, I would love to have one. I wouldn't mind having one, but it would never be my daily my only vehicle where I'm
Right.
fully reliant on that car.
yeah. No, I would
Even
always have a
even here in
gas.
Kansas, it wasn't near where Chicago got, but there was one day I was working last week and it was like minus 25 with the wind chill.
Right.
I
Yeah.
was like, it's just you can't be outside for more than like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's painful.
It is. And like even gasoline cars, regular like your daily driver, is the best vehicle, in my opinion, to have in these type of conditions because, like you said, it's harder than the start, but once they are started, they run. Like at work, our diesel trucks, pretty much all of them gelled up because diesel actually will gel when it gets down to below 20 degrees, 10 to 15 degrees,
Yeah.
they start to gel. And you can put treatment in it, and all of our trucks had treatment, yet all of them gelled up, or almost all of them. We had to have 4 of them towed. We had to have a company come out and use heaters and jump starters. We had them plugged into the wall, so the trucks have block heaters to keep the engines warm.
Yeah, because the fuel that's inside the motor, since there's such a small amount of it, it's not like in a big mass, like in a fuel tank. They'll gel up a lot faster. So you have
Yeah.
a block heater. It's just a heating element inside the block of the engine
Yeah.
that'll keep it warm, so the fuel in the fuel lines in the motor won't gel up.
Yeah. But even though the trucks were plugged in, they still gelled up. It's rough. So it's not just electric vehicles that have a hard time in cold conditions, but electric vehicles have the hardest time in these current conditions, at least for now.
At least for now.
At least for now, because there's a lot of companies working on battery technology, and there's a lot of future chemistries that are promising to fix this issue.
Have you
So-
seen? It's not car related, but the technology could be used with vehicles.
Okay.
We sort of talked about it before, but have you seen the guy they call the real Iron Man? I can't remember which country. He's not in America, but he is building a legit Iron Man costume, like suit.
Really?
It's not even a costume. I guess it's a suit, fully robotic. Like, and it looks. The internals look just like when they were making it in the movie, where like the arms open up. He put his arm into it, and he's got the deal on his hand. And
Wow.
Whoa.
but in order to power the suit, he's essentially doing chemistry and to create its own hydrogen, so it's completely self-reliant, self-sufficient.
Whoa.
And
Nice.
so the same technology could be used in cars. Like there's no emission to it. He said it
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
produce enough power to actually propel him in flight, but it produces enough power to repel items like out of the little hand deal.
Wow.
And so he's got videos where he's charging it just like in the movie. It's crazy. Just look up the real world Iron Man, and you'll see these videos. But this dude's like a genius, and he's in his early mid-20s.
You see, I really think that hydrogen is would be a better system to switch to right now for powering cars over electric, at least right now, because it can use a lot of the same systems that we currently do. Like, gas. You're used to going to a gas station where they hold the fuel and hooking up something to your car and putting fuel in your car. So if we just change the tanks or add new tanks and change the delivery vehicles to move hydrogen around, I know hydrogen's not that easy to move around, and it's not as efficient as electricity is.
No,
but
things that are worth it are usually not easy to get to.
right,
Like the harder you work at something, the more you appreciate it. Usually, the better product you put out.
yeah, hydrogen is so incredibly energy dense. There's a ton of energy inside of hydrogen.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to get hydrogen. It takes a lot of energy to remove hydrogen from things because hydrogen is very clingy.
But it's like baseball. If it was easy, everyone would do it.
Right.
The hard is what makes it great.
Yeah. And there's been a lot of advancements in hydrogen too. So
There's
Kinda-
already trucks that use it.
Yeah, there's
right?
a few of them out there,
Is it
yeah.
FedEx or I think it's FedEx? trucks?
FedEx
like
used-
local trucks.
I think so. Some of them. There's not a lot of them out there, but yeah, there's some of them out there. But yeah, hydrogen is definitely an emerging technology, but it's kind of in the background because everyone's talking about electric vehicles.
Yeah.
But it could be something that kind of emerges out of the blue and then takes you by surprise, especially if more of these problems keep happening with the extreme cold. And like GM has had issues with fires in their electric vehicles. Like more and more people are talking about not only the good of electric vehicles, but people are talking about the bad of electric vehicles as well, which there's definitely both.
But with every kind of vehicle that's ever come out, even when the very first motor car came out,
Oh, yeah.
until you get a certain amount of time from the first one in production, especially mass production, there's a certain amount of time that has to go by for you to build up enough data in order to understand what's going to be the issues, what's not going to be the issues, how can we better this product.
No, absolutely. So I don't know. It could be electric. It could be hydrogen that takes. And Porsche actually
Could be something completely different that we haven't even heard about yet.
And that's what I was gonna mention a third one. Porsche actually doesn't want ICE engine or ICE cars to go away. Internal combustion engines. A lot of people refer to it as ICE.
Yeah.
But Porsche doesn't want to see them go away, which I completely agree with. There's something about an ICE, a gasoline engine that just has more of a soul. It's more enjoyable than an electric car. But anyways,
There's a difference between a car enthusiast and a car driver.
yeah,
Like if you're just a driver, if you're just a car user, you use the car because it's convenient and it just gets you where you want to go.
Yeah.
But like if you're a car enthusiast, there's a sense of appreciation to the art of the design of the car.
Oh, absolutely.
Of the functionality of the car. There's an appreciation for the connection that you have.
Yeah.
Like you're working with the car. And so that's why, I was joking earlier, but that's why I love manual transmissions and Jason does so much because
absolutely.
Jen, what's your take on manuals? You love them? Do you know how to drive a stick?
Jason tried to teach me once, but I sucked.
But you have an appreciation for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a connection that you like where you're working with it and like
Yeah.
it's so much more enjoyable if you're an enthusiast of cars because
Yeah.
it's not just a tool, it's something that you connect with.
Right. And you have so much more appreciate. So if you're driving a manual car around a racetrack, you're not going to be the fastest. Like the reality is that automatic transmissions have gotten so good and they shift so fast that you're not going to be the fastest, but you're going to have the most enjoyment out of the drive because you just have, like you said, you have so much more connection to the vehicle. Like you have to rely on the vehicle and the vehicle has to rely on you. Like there's when the more electronics and the more safety features and all this stuff you have in a car, the more the car is just almost kind of doing it for you.
Yeah.
And it takes kind
You're
of
just along for the ride instead of engaged in the ride.
Yeah. It's almost like you're just telling the car, hey, I want you to go there. And the car's like, okay, I will do that for you. As to where, like, if you're in an old school, like, manual transmission, no traction control or safety components or anything like that, it is man and machine, and you are making this thing happen. Like there's no two ways about it. Like, if there's no safety features or anything like that, it's a lot more dangerous because if you go off the track, you go off the track. There's nothing there to save you. But it's just so much more fun. Like every time I took my Mustang out to the track, turned off all the traction control, turned off all the safety features, and I just went for it.
Yeah.
But it's so much fun. It's so much fun. Anyways.
You have more control in the manual as well. Like when I was teaching, when I had the little Fiesta ST, I was teaching one of the kids how to drive the manual.
Yeah.
He just naturally picked up on it. Now he enjoys manuals to driving. He didn't think he would.
Right.
But you have more control, especially in situations like in the winter when the roads might be slippery, or you can start in a second gear. You don't have to start in a first gear where you have higher torque, and you can create more control
Absolutely.
than you could in an automatic because you don't just have the pedals to push.
And you can also do a reverse 180 easier in a manual transmission.
Because you can't, you don't have to slam it from reverse to drive. You just run the stick and they
back up, crank the wheel for reverse straight to first gear, and off you go.
You ask any true truck driver,
oh God, yeah.
what would you rather have, manual or automatic?
Manual.
And before you even ask that question, or before you're done asking that question,
They know what the answer
they
is.
want to kick you in the kneecap and punch you in the face because they're like, why would you? That's a dumb question. Of course, a manual.
So what's really stupid about, a little bit of rant here. What's really stupid about automatic semi-trucks is they're not actually automatics in the same way your car is. They're an actual manual transmission, that they have little air-powered actuators do the shifting for you. So it's a manual transmission that a computer is shifting, and it does a crappy job.
Really bad job.
It misses gears all the time.
Yep.
Like you're trying to go through an intersection. This is another thing. If you ever see a semi that is like starting to go through an intersection and then it just kind of takes its time, it's probably because it's an automatic transmission that missed a gear and it's taken freaking 30 seconds to figure out what it's doing. It's just like
Yeah.
It's like you hear it. You hear the little air actuators going, and it's like, find the gear, man. Find the gear. Sorry. I apologize.
Jason didn't get breakfast today.
Tell us how you really
You have some
feel.
coffee? Need some coffee, bro?
Automatic, manual transmissions and semis suck. Everything is fine. I'm
Everything's
fine
fine.
now.
It's
I
fine.
know. I
Everything's
know.
fine.
Maybe you're just hangry.
As the fire raises from behind Jason's chair.
So
I feel
Porsche.
I feel like we need to make it a point to not pick on him today.
So Porsche.
Yeah.
Because they-
because Porsche's a love for the ICE motors.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me want to like shun Lamborghini a little bit because Lamborghini's going like almost full electric.
They're going the way of the electric.
What?
But-
Yeah, Lamborghinis. They're not making. They're either going to be full electric or hybrids. They're not going to make any only naturally aspirated motors anymore.
Unfortunately. And a lot of the supercar and you know
But
sports
it
car
sounds like
manufacturers are doing that.
Porsche's tied to the old school. Go
they're
Porsche.
fighting it, but they're fighting it in a really good way. I don't know if you've seen it, but they're creating alternatives to fuel. So
like vegetable oil kind of thing.
sort of. So like one way that they're doing it is that they're actually like they're scrubbing air for carbon. So they're basically removing carbon from the air.
Is this the same sort of technology they used for the car that drove to the highest point
Yeah.
from that video that I sent
Yeah.
you?
That's the fuel that they use for
Okay.
that. Yeah. So they
Because I was listening to that, like I heard that video, but I was engaged in something else, and I was kind of listening to this as it was going, so I didn't catch all the details. But I heard him saying something about they're doing this with that to create this fuel that it makes it cleaner, and
So what they are doing is you know the one of the big issues is that when you burn fuel, it releases carbon into the air, and that causes global warming. So what Porsche's doing, one of the ways they're doing it is they're scrubbing the air for carbon. They're removing the carbon from the air, but then they're taking it.
like before it takes it in.
No, like just from the environment. So they just basically have like big fans outside.
Yeah,
that
so this
are
is
just,
prior to the combustion stage. Like they're scrubbing air.
this is before it's even put in the car.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
as it intakes it, it's scrubbing carbon, or it's scrubbing carbon from the air to intake.
Well, it's not happening in the car. It's a completely separate facility. It's not in the car.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like this is part of the car's engine technology.
No.
As it's okay.
No. This is a
Carry on.
technology for creating fuel.
Okay.
So
So it has nothing to do with the vehicle itself.
no, nothing to
Okay.
do with the vehicle. They're trying to save the standard ICE vehicles, but so they're scrubbing just the air for carbon, and they're taking that carbon and they're doing some chemistry magic to it, and they're creating fuel just from the carbon in the air. So it's completely carbon neutral because you burn it and it releases carbon into the air, and then they're sucking the carbon back in and just making more fuel out of it.
That's awesome.
So it's a carbon neutral loop. And then they're also working on synthetic fuels that I believe are using like certain plants and things like that are also carbon neutral. Like when you burn them, they don't release carbon. So they're working on a lot of alternatives to
That's
fuels.
that sounds like such a more, I don't even know how to say it. That sounds like a much better idea,
Right?
than this electric thing, because everything that's creating the problems in the atmosphere and in the environment,
Right.
you're reusing that. So essentially, you're taking it away, so you're not adding to it,
Yep.
and you're actually removing it to create the same. If it makes the exact same amount, when it does eventually expel from the vehicle.
Yeah.
So you're not adding anything to create further problems or turmoil. You're not mining for anything to
Right.
create a problem in order to fix a problem.
Yeah,
That
it's
sounds
just-
awesome.
Just a loop.
I mean,
So,
go Porsche.
Yeah.
Jen, are you a fan of the Porsche executives? I know you hate Ferrari. What's your take on Porsche?
I was say you've always
I've never had anything against Porsche. I like them.
I've talked a little bit about Porsche in the past, probably like a year or so ago, and you really liked them. You said that you would buy a Porsche.
I did say that.
That was the type of car, like 5 months ago when we first started doing this thing,
Right?
where I was like, oh, we should see if we can get Jason to drift a Porsche because they're mid-engine.
Yeah.
And then we found you can, like, there's Porsches out there that are like a 911 Cayman sort of body that are, $15,000-$16,000
Wow.
that you can get one. Like it's an affordable car. You don't have to get, the poor man's Porsche. You don't have to get the Boxster or the 944 or 911, or you can get
Just get
like
one
a
with a little
Cayman
age
911 looking body for like $15,000.
Yeah. Yeah, get one with a little age to it.
And they are some of the best handling supercars out there.
Yeah. Porsches are very well known for their handling. Like, except for when you do lose them because you have that weight in the back end.
Which makes it even more interesting if we can get Jason to learn how to drift one.
I would love to. I mean, but no, Porsches.
Your Maverick cost more than a used Porsche. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
That's
but
true.
it's also newer and has a warranty.
Yeah,
Still.
but it does draw the attention of police officers who think you're speeding. Porsches don't do that. Nobody will mistake you for speeding if you're in a Porsche, right?
Right.
Yes.
Is this
Police will definitely look at Jason and be like, man, you're in that pickup truck. He must be
Yep.
up to something.
He's picking up speed.
which one's speeding? The mini pickup truck or the Porsche?
Totally the pickup truck.
Definitely
Hey,
the small
have
pickup
you ever
truck.
been pulled over in a Porsche?
I've never driven a Porsche.
That's
Actually,
not the
that's not true.
That's not the question.
Actually, I
I've asked.
have driven a Porsche once.
Were you pulled over in it?
I was on a racetrack.
So yes or no?
No.
So you've driven a Porsche, true, and you were never pulled over in it, also true. Have you driven a Ford Maverick? Yes or
Oh
no?
my gosh.
This is why
Yes or
you
no?
can't trust the.
Yes or no?
This is how data gets manipulated.
You'd be a great journalist, Richard.
Yeah,
I was
You'd be
told.
a great journalist.
I was insulted so many times as a child, told that I should have been a lawyer or a politician,
Insulted.
and I was like, "Why would you insult me like that?"
Now
how
we're saying
rude.
you should be a journalist.
Yeah, now I should be
Number
a
3.
journalist.
Lawyer,
But
politician, and journalist.
It's a yes or no
Ouch.
question, sir. It's a yes or no question.
But yes, I've driven a Maverick, and yes, I
Have you
was
been pulled over in a
But I
Maverick?
never received a ticket in the Maverick.
I didn't ask that question. I just asked if you were pulled over.
Exactly. That's why.
Lawyer.
I didn't ask that question.
Yes, I was pulled over
Yeah.
in the Maverick.
Objection. Argumentative. Just ask a question. Is that so hard to ask?
I have dunk hunt. Okay.
You do have duck hunt now.
Duck hunt.
You didn't even
Did I say dunk again?
You did.
dunk hunt. You didn't
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. This is awesome. I love duck hunt.
Yay.
Who are you thinking?
Brian, right?
Yeah.
He's bad at names.
I'm horrible at names. I apologize. There are people that I work with that I see every single day that I don't remember their names.
I'm sorry, Brian. Robert has a bad memory over here.
Robert does.
Dang it, Robert.
Come on, Bob.
Hell yeah.
What do you have, bro?
I have 2 topics. I'll let you guys choose. Topic A or topic B.
C. One of the above.
You don't get an option of that.
8.5.
8.5.
Let's go
This
with-
topic.
I'm feeling topic B.
Topic B. Okay. So topic B is BYD is taking over China.
What's BYD?
It's a
Bring
car,
your dessert.
It's a car manufacturer. Oh, that would be good though. Bring your dessert.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it is a car manufacturer.
Like Santa's sleigh where it provides cookies. Bid Han? Are you sure it's not the word bid?
I mean, maybe. But
Because the second word is HAN. So it could be Bid
well,
Han.
Han is the car model. So this is the Han.
Oh, so BYD could be, and there's only one car, so it's the BYD Han Solo.
No, they have more. They have more vehicles.
They just went right over both your heads.
Yes. What happened?
Han, there's one car,
Uh-huh.
and it's called the Han. It's the Han Solo. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I get it.
But the other cars, did you mention the BYD? Did you mention their names?
The Bid Han.
Well, that's what I was trying to find, but their website is not making it very easy to find.
Is it in English? I
no.
can't tell.
But they have really cute
it-
names.
Only English, or is it? You said it's from what country?
It's from China.
So it's a Chinese company.
Yes. Okay, here we go. So they have the BYD Dolphin.
The dolphin.
Yeah. The BYD Seal.
Every time I think of this is kind of cool. Like it makes me think of SeaWorld.
Yeah.
Makes me think of global, helping the environment,
And maybe that's their thinking.
global preservation. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. And maybe that's what they're thinking because it's an all electric company. So, but they have the Dolphin, the Seal, the Alto 3,
How does it spelled?
ATTO,
Atto?
Atto?
Atto 3. They have the Han and they have the Tang.
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 The astronauts drink.
Ooh.
And
Tang is so good.
it's a little SUV. Well, I don't know if it's little, but it's an SUV.
I want the Han.
It's
like
not-
every time each of these names, it makes me think of like immediately the first thought is, ooh, I could have a personalized tag. Like the dolphin could be Flipper.
The Han's a pretty good looking car though. I mean,
It is a cool looking car.
and-
It looks sort of like the front of it in that shot looks like a Honda Accord.
yeah, it does. Very similar to that. But no, it's so what's interesting is Hyundai. I watched a video about Hyundai.
Okay.
And how they're losing like millions of dollars in China. So,
In sales, they're losing? Like
in sales. So in 2016, Hyundai sold a million or a little over a million cars in China, just in China. In last year, though, they sold 230,000.
what?
Less than a quarter.
How does
percent.
that happen?
Well, so the reasoning that the guy in the video that I watched, which was the Electric Viking, good channel if you're interested in electric stuff, but he said that he believes that it was because Hyundai took a really long time to adopt electric vehicles. They do have some electric vehicles now, but not many. And China is like the largest growing electric car market in the world, I believe. So they're adopting electric cars very quickly.
Wonder if their first year when they had 1 million sales, if those cars' quality was so bad that everyone's like, I'm not buying one of those again. And so it dropped from 1 million to 200,000.
Yeah, maybe.
Like that is a massive drop. That
Yeah.
CEO's fired.
Right? And from 2016 to now is not that long of time to
No.
drop that many cars. And so not too long ago, they built a new factory in China, a 1.1, or they built two of them actually, at least. One of them that was 1.1 billion and one of them that was 1.2 billion, or maybe the 1.2 billion one was somewhere else. But they built two factories and then now they've sold both of them. But they've sold them
Probably for a loss.
massive.
Oh.
They've sold them for less than $300,000
Each?
So
After spending $1 billion.
Dang.
Over a billion.
over $1 billion. And
So they spent over $2 billion and only got 600 grand back.
yeah.
That's real estate 101 right there.
Yeah, you don't but
You don't do that.
even worse though, they were only operational for a couple years. Yeah, they made a massive loss on that. So Hyundai's been losing money like crazy, but Honda is not the only one that's actually pulling out of China. Mitsubishi, I think Nissan or some. There's a few car manufacturers that are actually shutting down facilities in China, and they're pulling out of China because they're not selling enough cars.
Oh.
I wonder is that the only factor though? There's got to be something else involved, like why so many would pull out. Like what would cause their sales to drop that much? There's
I've
got to be
heard-
other factors involved.
I've heard. I don't know a lot of details about this, and I don't know all the facts. So don't hold me to any of this. But I've heard that China has changed a lot of their policies, and when it comes to manufacturing and exporting and stuff like that, to try to increase like the wages for their workers and make for better environments and stuff like that. And it's becoming so expensive to manufacture in China that a lot of companies are actually moving away from China to manufacture in cheaper countries that have less strict,
Outsourcing and
regulations when it comes to stuff like that. So
I know there's some vehicles that we've wanted here in the U.S. that they've had in other countries for like very, very long time.
yeah,
Like the Ford Ranger,
Yeah.
very, very popular. It stopped production in America for a long time, but it didn't over in like Europe or
Right.
Australia. And then the Ford Ranger Raptor edition had actually been out for quite a long time overseas,
Yeah.
but not here in America. And the reason we don't get a lot of cars here is because we have regulations that other countries don't.
Mm-hmm.
And so the manufacturer, like Ford, for example, since I'm using that as an example,
right.
they don't want to apply those regulations to vehicles because they don't need to. They don't need to have that extra market.
Yeah.
But luckily, the Ranger Raptor is coming to us.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Hopefully, the quality has been improved since Ford's been on the decline.
Hopefully.
But
no, I thought that was really interesting though that BYD is kind of like taking over the China car market. So they're buying. So they're the main people that are buying all the factories from like Hyundai and everyone else. So they're buying these billion-dollar factories that are like state of the art for a fraction of the price. And now they're actually having people come in and flip the production in a matter of months, and they're producing cars. And so like they're getting cars out to the China market like crazy. They're buying these top of the line facilities for fraction of what they cost to build.
pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, like
pennies on the $10.
Like BYD is being very smart. And I watched a video too comparing a Tesla Model 3 to a BYD Seal. He liked the Tesla better, but I was surprised at how good the BYD Seal was.
Does it make you want to clap like a seal?
But also, they recently took delivery of, I think it was 2 car transport ships. So they're going to start shipping BYD vehicles to the UK and possibly America. Like they are expanding big time.
I'm looking on their website as you were talking.
Crazy.
Do you know the conversion? I don't. Like, do you know the conversion for kilometers to miles?
I don't know it off the top of my head now.
It says super long range, 1,245 kilometers. Fuel consumption as low as 3.8 liters, or whatever the L is for electric.
You said that that's its range?
It's super long range, 1,245 kilometers.
That's 773 miles.
Whoa.
That crushes the Mercedes that we talked about last week.
Yeah.
At 466
Holy
is
cow.
impressive because most cars are in the 300 to 400 range.
Right.
So 466, you're like, man, that's crushing it. But the 711,
Yeah, I mean that will
773. I'm sorry.
Yeah, 773. So from Kansas, where we are, to California, and I mention that a lot because we have family in California, but like that's like 1,100 miles. So, and you don't typically want to drive that in one trip. So you could easily make it halfway there, find a
Charge overnight in New Mexico.
charge overnight, at a hotel.
As long as it's not below freezing.
Right. Assuming that it's
As long as you're not going to Chicago in the winter.
right. But yeah, you could easily make a trip to California with that car in like you would with a gasoline car because you're not going to typically drive that in one shot. That's crazy.
Something else in electric vehicles that I don't think we've ever talked about is the thermal efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
Like as they get hot, you lose a little bit of efficiency, power loss.
Yeah.
They're claiming world-leading thermal efficiency at 43%.
Wow.
So I don't know what the average is.
I don't know what the comparison is.
0 to 62 mile. I don't know why they do 62, but 0 to 62.
Because 100 kilometers an hour is 62. I remember that.
In 4.3 seconds.
That's pretty quick. Faster than my Mustang GT was.
Yeah. They're stating also that they have a Blade battery, it's called. It's the only battery that has passed the nail penetration test. I don't know what that test is, but it sounds like they try to shoot nails through it.
Basically. So with a lithium-ion battery, which is what most things are right now, lithium phosphate batteries are becoming more common because they're a lot safer. But lithium-ion is what most things have right now. If you puncture a nail through the battery, it will set fire. It will like aggressively
because of the metal of the nail or because of the impact.
Because of the short. So it short circuits. Lithium is flammable. Anytime that it short circuits inside the battery, it causes a fire, which is why if you overcharge a lithium ion battery or you undercharge it, with age, they grow what's called dendrites. And they're like little fingers that like grow from the anode to the cathode, which is basically one side of the battery to the other. They like grow these little fingers, and when they touch, it shorts the battery, and then that's why batteries spontaneously combust sometimes, is because they'll grow dendrites.
Interesting.
But yeah, so the nail penetration test is a big one because as soon as you penetrate the battery, that nail's going to cause a short, and it's going to aggressively light on fire.
Well, I'm guessing this Blade battery is an option because it says the Blade battery has a range of 605 kilometers.
Oh.
which would be half of that, which is still 330.
Yeah. 605, 375. So
Yeah.
that's still not bad. Not as good as
No.
the Mercedes, but
So I'm guessing you can choose one or the other, the blade battery or not.
okay.
But no, this kind of cool. Sounds
Yeah.
like a company that's trying to do things wise, and their technology looks like it's pretty well figured out.
I could easily with everything that I haven't looked up a ton about BYD, but from what I have seen, I think they could compete with Tesla in the matter of a few years.
I'm only learning like as we're going,
Right.
like right now. Like I've never heard of it before you brought it up.
Yeah.
Globalization, 400 plus cities, 70 plus countries on 6 continents. Wonder what the one continent is they're not going to go to.
I don't know.
Probably Antarctica.
It's it's a bit cold for
They need
electric
cars
vehicle.
down there.
A bit
Yeah.
cold
Penguins
for
need 'em.
electric vehicles. Huh?
Penguins need them.
Penguins need cars too.
Penguins need them.
Yeah.
How are they going to charge them?
With their pebbles. I don't know.
They rub their pebbles together to create static electricity.
Maybe that's why they always slide their feet, to get that static
Oh, they're creating
electricity.
charge.
Maybe that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then they put their flipper up to the charger.
My car won't start. Clear.
Anyways,
I don't know what this means, but it says they have the world's first 8-in-1 electric powertrain. I don't know what an 8-in-1 electric powertrain is, but it
I
says it
don't
has
know.
the world's first of it.
Huh.
Yeah, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Check it out, byd.com.
Indeed.
If I got the dolphin, I would name it Echo.
Oh, from the video game?
Yeah.
Oh,
name
you
it
knew
Fl-
that reference, huh?
I
did-
told
I
him
did
about
not.
it. He didn't know it.
I did not.
You told
He's
him
like-
about it?
He's like, "What's Echo?"
From the video game.
Yeah.
There's a
You see,
game
when
called
when
Echo.
she first said Echo, I just thought
Bro,
she was
your-
talking about like how
Your
they
nerd
like
cred
emit
is
noise.
dropping, bro.
I'm not as nerdy as the rest of the Nerd Barrage
Well,
team.
I also had a Sega Genesis, so that's why I knew about Echo.
My first game system, I think, was the PS1, PlayStation 1.
Oh.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, you played on the Nintendo that Phil and I had. No, maybe you didn't.
I don't think
I don't think we allowed you to.
I wasn't allowed.
You weren't
too,
allowed.
Too young.
You always had, sticky fingers. You were like 2. You're gonna ruin our controller. There's only 2 buttons, bro. We need them both.
I remember blowing into the cartridge, but
Yeah.
I don't. I think that was because they were like using me to clean their
Wow.
games.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
We will let you watch if you blow the dust out of the cartridge
Yeah.
and you put it into the system.
I mean, I thought it was a good trade at the time.
Yeah. Win-win. We weren't using him. He wanted to do it.
So you want to take that exit?
Yeah, let's take the.
I'm ready
exit.
for the exit.
Well, there's our exit.
I'm about to BYD Han Solo out of here.
We'll see you next week.
Take it easy.